Imagine you're sitting in a crowded cafe. Everyone is laughing, the music is playing, and everything seems perfectly normal. But then you lock eyes with a friend who is telling a funny story. For a split second, less than the blink of an eye, their smile drops, and you see a flash of pure, cold exhaustion. The rest of the table keeps laughing, but you can't. You just saw the glitch in the simulation. Most people call this sharp intuition or a gut feeling, but psychology suggests something much deeper. You aren't psychic. Your brain simply operates on a higher frame rate than everyone else. While others are watching the play on stage, you are subconsciously watching the velvet curtains. You notice the nervous sweat on the actor's forehead, the frayed rope holding up the scenery, and the prompter's hand whispering the lines. This is what neuroscientists call thin slicing, the ability of the mind to find patterns in events based only on thin slices of experience. Your brain is a 24/7 data collection machine, constantly scanning for incongruence. That's the psychological gap between what a person says and what their body actually does. When a coworker says they're happy for you, but their voice rises half a tone and their eyes stay cold, your brain sends an immediate alert. Data error. This is a lie. It's like tasting a soup and knowing instantly it's too salty. You don't have to think about it. Your tongue simply reports the truth. You are what we call a hyper-perceiver. You see the world in high definition, while everyone else is watching a grainy, censored broadcast. But here's the strange part. This gift often feels like a curse. Because once you see the mechanism behind the mask, you can never unsee it. You are trapped in a paradox. You are socially hyper-aware, but mentally isolated, carrying the weight of truths that no one else around you even suspects. And this is where things get interesting. Because seeing the truth is one thing, but surviving it is another. The problem with having X-ray vision for the human soul is that truth is often expensive. In fact, it can turn you into an accidental villain in your own social circle. Think about the Greek myth of Cassandra. She was given the gift of seeing the truth, but cursed so that no one would ever believe her. Modern life is full of Cassandras, people who scream, "Watch out, this person is fake," only to have their friends look at them like they're the ones being toxic. Why does this happen? Because human society is built on a foundation of polite lies. We use masks to keep the peace, to keep families together, and to keep offices running smoothly. Most people are happy to stay in the audience, watching the performance. But then you walk in with a giant spotlight, shining it directly into the dark, moldy corners everyone is trying to ignore. Imagine a workplace scene. A coworker is crying, playing the victim to get sympathy after being scolded by the boss. Everyone rushes to comfort them. But you've seen the pattern. You know they missed their deadlines and used manipulation to cover their tracks. If you don't join the sympathy club, or heaven forbid you point out the reality, the mood shifts instantly. Suddenly, the victim turns on you with a sharp, cold hatred. In psychology, this is called ego defense. When you strip away someone's mask, they don't thank you for your honesty. They feel psychologically naked and humiliated. To survive, their brain strikes back by labeling you as the problem. You become the judgmental one, the arrogant one, or the person lacking empathy. And this is where the first trap closes. You realize that your clarity makes others uncomfortable. So you start to choose silence. You smile, you nod, and you pretend not to know what you know. But this silence creates a massive, empty space in your soul. You are independent, yet deeply empathetic, but you begin to feel like a ghost in your own life. Most people never notice this part, but being the person who sees everything means you are often the loneliest person in the room. When you can't trust what people say, you start trusting only your own analysis. This is where the second trap closes, the detective trap. Because you are so used to spotting the lie behind the smile, you begin to assume that everything has a hidden meaning. Observation stops being a gift and turns into a toxic survival mechanism. In this stage, you lose your psychological innocence. A compliment from a partner is no longer just a kind word. It feels like a setup for a future favor. A gift isn't a romantic gesture. Your brain immediately asks, what are they feeling guilty about? Even a late text message isn't just a busy schedule. It becomes a sign of fading interest or a shift in priority. You trap yourself in a loop of constant high alert. The goal? To never be blindsided by pain again. You believe that if you can predict every betrayal, it won't hurt when it happens. Your sensitivity becomes your armor, but it's an armor so heavy that it blocks out real connection. But there's a deeper reason for this exhaustion. You've become what we call a glass wall person. Because you are so good at reading others, you understand their needs before they even speak. You become a master diplomat, a healer, the quote-unquote strong one. But in return, no one reads you. People assume you are too smart to need protection. You see through everyone, but when they look at you, they only see their own reflection in your glass surface. You are socially skilled, yet socially exhausted, standing in a crowd, watching a tragedy unfold like the Titanic, while everyone else is busy dancing. You know the truth, but you are forced to raise a glass and toast to a lie. Or maybe this sounds exactly like you. So what is the way out for a mind that cannot stop seeing the truth? You cannot simply switch off your sensitivity. Asking you to see less is like asking someone with perfect vision to pretend everything is blurry. It's impossible. The goal isn't to go blind. It's to change how you respond to what you see. The first step to freedom is strategic ignorance. This is the art of knowing everything, but reacting to almost nothing. You must learn to separate the truth from your responsibility. When you see a coworker being fake or a friend wearing a mask, ask yourself, is it my job to expose this? If it doesn't affect your life or your safety, treat it like a gray cloud passing across the sky. You see it, you acknowledge it, but you don't have to fly up and try to push it away. Next, you must learn to accept the mask. Most people don't wear masks to hurt you. They wear them to hide their own wounds, insecurities, and the fear of not being loved. That person bragging at the table is just a child craving attention. Once you see the pain behind the performance, your anger turns into a radical acceptance. You see the mask, but you don't rip it off. You allow them to feel safe inside it, because the highest form of intelligence isn't exposing someone, it's seeing their weakness and still choosing to be kind. Finally, you must forgive the blind spots of the present. To escape the detective trap, you have to accept a risk, the risk of being hurt. If your intuition says there's a 20% chance someone might fail you, have the courage to enjoy the 80% of joy they give you right now. You can see the thorns on the rose, but if you spend all your time analyzing the sharpness of the thorns, you will never smell the flower. When you master this, you stop being a cold X-ray machine and become a quiet lighthouse. You see the hidden rocks and the dangerous currents, but you no longer panic. You simply guide your own ship home. Maybe you were never meant to fix the world. Maybe you were just meant to see it clearly and love it anyway. The final evolution of a person who sees everything is moving from being a victim of the truth to becoming a master of it. You have spent years walking an extremely dangerous line where your rare level of awareness threatened to destroy your peace. But the burden of truths that no one else understands doesn't have to be a weight that pulls you down. Instead, it can be the very thing that turns you into someone extraordinary. You are no longer just a data collection machine searching for errors. You are a pattern seer who has learned that while truth is expensive, wisdom is priceless. You've realized that people's masks are often just protective shields for their own survival, and you no longer feel the need to tear them away. By practicing strategic ignorance, you separate the truth you see from the responsibility to fix it. Maybe you were never avoiding the world. Maybe you were just protecting something deeper, a mind that is too vivid for a world that prefers to live in the dark. You've traded the heavy armor of the detective for the steady light of the lighthouse. You see the hidden rocks, you see the dangerous currents, but you are finally at peace because you know how to navigate them. Remember, your understanding today could completely change someone's day. Don't be afraid of what you see. Use your gift to find the few people who are as real as you are and cherish the 80% of joy that the present moment offers. You see what others miss, and that is exactly what makes you necessary. So, among the 3 psychological traps, the Cassandra Curse, the detective trap, or the glass wall, which one do you fall into the most? And more importantly, are you ready to commit to these principles to protect your mind?